Have you ever wanted to travel to a new country but you were a little bit hesitant just because you didn't know much about it? Today I'm going to tell you about one of my favorite places in the entire world, Vietnam. I'm actually here currently on my fifth trip here, and every time I come, I find something new that I fall in love with. There's experiences, food, culture, the people, coffee. There's so many things that you can experience here and so many things to fall in love with. To get to Vietnam, it's a little bit different because you do need a visa to travel in the country. So what this means is that you have to fill out a visa application and send it with a copy of your passport to Vietnam, and they will approve your visa. If you just put for vacation, usually they approve it and there's no problem with it. Once you get that stamp of approval in your email, then you can go ahead and print that off and send that, a copy of your passport, your physical passport, to the Houston consulate for the Vietnamese, and there they will put the physical visa into your passport, and then from there you're ready to go once they send it back. Some medicine that they ask you if you want are Cipro and malaria pills. Cipro is just for stomach, just in case it's not happy with the new kinds of food. It's kind of different jumping into a whole new culture of food when your body's not used to it. And then malaria pills, every time that I've been here, I haven't seen many mosquitoes, but this is more better safe than sorry. A tetanus shot, a Hep B shot, and the typhoid shot. The travel time to get to Vietnam is crazy. I've never been on flights like this. It's a 3-hour flight to either Los Angeles or a 4-hour flight to Seattle, and then you'll usually have a little bit of a layover to give you some buffer room, and then a 13-hour flight to Incheon, South Korea, or Narita, Japan. And then from there, after you have a layover, you'll have a 6-hour flight to Hanoi, Vietnam. And it sounds like a lot, but usually if you take melatonin or some sleeping pills, you can fall asleep for the whole flight and the jet lag will not hit you as bad. It's so weird to think that if you sleep for 24 hours travel time that you're not gonna be tired whenever you're here. It's actually crazy. The people and the culture of Vietnam is my favorite part of this country. There are so many different types of people, and just walking around the lake here in the old quarter, you can see all of those different people. When you wake up in the morning, if you wake up early and you get down to the lake by 5:30 or 6, there is a whole group of people all around the lake that do Tai Chi, and they exercise in the morning. I find this really interesting just because I feel like in America we've lost the exercise kind of culture, but this is something that they find so important and they thrive on. So it's really cool to walk by the lake and just see all of the exercise equipment being taken and all of the calm Tai Chi and meditation that is going on there. It's cool to see how others live their lives because here in Vietnam, they have an ancestral culture. So whenever they have a house, they usually have a shop or a store at the bottom. And from there, generations live above it. So it'll be the kids and then the parents and the grandparents. It's really cool to drive around Hanoi and see all of the big buildings just built on top of each other for the more family that live there. And then you see a store at the bottom that usually that family owns and runs. And it's cool to see that Hanoi is very different in Vietnam because it's starting to become more westernized. It has become a very big and very popular travel spot in the recent years, and so they've kind of adapted to a little bit more of the westernized culture. So they do have Pizza Hut, they have Domino's, they have Dunkin' Donuts, they have KFC. But it's all found in the same general vicinity. It's all on one part of the lake. You can't find it all over the place. They still stay true to their roots of Vietnamese food and Vietnamese coffee, and they have their own little shops all over the place. So you would have to go to that one section to find the westernized things, but you do see a lot of travelers walking around, and it's interesting because a lot of them still aren't used to seeing white people. They find it very interesting whenever they see you on the street, and a lot of them love to take pictures with you. I've gotten stopped numerous times for taking pictures with other people. But one thing that these people really teach you is how to be hospitable. They have an honor shame culture, so they want to do anything that they can to help you and to help you figure out what you need or get you anything you need. These are your yes people. They will never give up on you, and they will always make sure that you have exactly what you need at the right time. These are just some pictures of people that I've seen throughout the country. The girl in the middle is actually on the streets of Hanoi making her food for her shop, and it's really cool to see them just all sit outside and they're skinning fish and they're cooking pigs on rotators and they're stirring rice. It's all kinds of different food all over the street, and it's really cool to see everyone just outside hanging out and talking to each other, and they don't take work very seriously there. The ideal time to travel is either February or September. Right now, in June, it is very, very hot. Today was a record heat with 105, and it felt like 105 with 96% humidity, and it was the hottest day of the year. And I can attest it was very, very hot, and it was nothing like Texas heat. And spring is a little bit cooler. I've come in March a few times, and it has a little bit of a breeze, so it's not as bad, but it is still very, very hot. So the perfect time to come is either February or September when it's a little bit cooler and there's a breeze and it's a little bit easier to work with. What to pack? The people here are very welcoming of different kinds of style or dress, so you don't really need to be too conservative, but you also want to be a little bit modest, just because a lot of Vietnamese people do cover up a lot of their bodies, just because they don't want attention from the sun, but it's also something that you need to be aware of when you are traveling in the country. To get into some of the museums, shorts are not allowed. You have to have shorts that are at least knee length or longer. So I've always just been safe and worn capris or jeans, just to be safe. Then you also really want comfortable shoes, because if you stay in Old Quarter, there is a ton of walking that you'll do. You'll take walks around the lake, and you'll go to the different streets to shop and to go eat, and most of the time you will be walking, because driving here, there's a lot of driving on motorbikes, and traffic can get really, really crazy down here, so sometimes it's just faster to take a walk. Now the fun part, what is there to do in Hanoi, Vietnam? There is a list of museums that you could go to. The Hilton Hotel is actually one of the most interesting I feel like I've been to. It's about the American and Vietnam War, and I know this is a very controversial topic, but it's interesting to see the different sides of the stories, and you can see all of the artifacts and where this war actually took place, like all of the rooms and the artillery. Everything is so interesting. And also, I went to the Air Force Museum for the first time today, and it's a ton of different planes and helicopters and just different things inside that you can walk around and look at. It's really interesting. And then the History Museum is huge. There is a lot of different artifacts that you can look at, and you can read a lot of stuff. It's hard because some of it is only in Vietnamese, so you do need a translator to tell you what it says, but it's always a good idea to have a translator handy anyways. And then the Ho Chi Minh Mausoleum, I have a picture of it there. During this season, over the summer, they have it closed for remodeling, so you can't go in and tour, but I believe, from what I understand, you can go see it throughout other times of the year. And you can walk around the grounds and see where the president lives and things like that, and where the president works. So it's really, really interesting. Some other things that you could visit are the botanical gardens and see the peacocks and the lotus flowers. You can go on coffee tours. There's 100 different kinds of coffee, egg coffee, cat coffee. The list is endless. And you could also see the Temple of Literature. Shopping is miles long here. You could go to any different street to find whatever you need. You could eat really good pho and Vietnamese food, and even visit the night market shops. Hen Som Gat Lai. See you soon. Hope you love this presentation about Vietnam, and I hope you get to visit the country soon.